Okay, next up we have Valentina Shevchenko versus Taylor Santos. Another fight. Man, so excited. I mean, I love watching Shevchenko's fights. I'm gonna be so sad when she leaves the sport because every time you see her get in there, just her approach, like she's 100% focused. It's kind of like the I've been watching the Michael Jordan documentary Last Dance on Netflix, where you can kind of get that insight into the mind of a champion like Michael Jordan, how competitive he is. When I watch Shevchenko, I get the feeling like she has that same kind of mental attitude of 100% 100% of the time. She's not going to let down for a second, not going to lose focus for a second. She's just and so consistent. She's got how many championship wins does she have now? 7. So yeah, since she's won the championship, defended it 6 times since then, and not in one of those fights. It's like she's getting better every time too. Like people aren't even getting close. I feel like the last time she fought someone where people were thinking someone had a chance to beat Shevchenko was Jessica Andrade. Because Andrade has the strength and the wrestling and everything. And like Shevchenko seemed like she went out of her way to like prove that her wrestling was better than Andrade's. Like,
yeah, beat her at her own game.
Even
completely.
though that wasn't. Yeah. it was crazy. So I love watching her fight. Can't wait to see her fight again. And she's fighting Taylor Santos, who's coming off of a 4-fight win streak. Before that, she had 1 loss. And before that, every fight she's won. She's only lost 1 fight. So she lost her debut fight in the UFC. Since that has been on a win streak. And her last fight she won by submission too in the first round. Which, getting a KO in the first round, it's impressive. But I feel like a submission in the first round even more impressive because with the KO, that's where you have the most. In the first round, that's where you have the most power and you're most likely to knock somebody out. I feel like. To get a submission in the first round, like you've got to, the person who's defending against that submission, they're at full strength.
There's no sweat.
You haven't had the time to wear them down yet.
All these things that contribute to it for sure.
Yeah, so that was very impressive against Joanne Wood, and that was just in November. She's been pretty active. She's had 2 fights in 2021, 2 in 2020, and Shevchenko, same thing. She's been fairly active. 2 fights in 2021, 2 fights in 2020. As far as predictions go, I mean, I don't know many people who are picking Santos to win this one, but I feel like now having watched Amanda Nunes lose, followed by watching Rose lose, like I don't know. It could just be a crazy time. The women's division could be, getting turned on its head. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, I definitely can't see Shevchenko losing. It's not out of the realm of possibility by any means. Another interesting thing about the odds is Shevchenko does have, I think, better odds than she had against Andrade. But most of Shevchenko's fights, you're going to see her at a negative 800 or better in terms of favorite. She's a negative 625, which are crazy odds. But I don't know. I don't know if it says anything that it's not negative 1,000. So they're giving, Taylor more credit than some of the previous fights that Shevchenko's had. So, or some of the matchups. So, yeah, picking Shevchenko to win. Shevchenko usually doesn't finish early. She's a pretty cautious fighter. Starts off not slow, but just, very careful and deliberate. Doesn't try to rush things. Waits for opportunity. If I had to guess, I'm gonna guess 3rd round Shevchenko. I don't know if she'll win by submission or KO, but I think Shevchenko will finish the fight by the 3rd round. What are your predictions?
My prediction: Shevchenko is an amazing martial artist. Like I've been watching a lot of boxing lately, and the difference between boxing and MMA is it's great to see boxers figure each other out and like think and you see them just go back to their corner and like form a game plan. With Shevchenko, I feel she's the same. She is just like, they always say in boxing, they're downloading data throughout the fight and, making these subtle adjustments. And it's great that, nothing against other teams, other fight camps, but her being like the prize student of her fight team and still continuing to excel, to get better, to win in the way that she's doing, shows that she is not like becoming complacent at all. She is continuing to improve. She's continuing to, work on these weaknesses. Her fight against Andrade, it reminded me of GSP when he was beating wrestlers at wrestling, and you're like, what? Like, where did this come from? How did he learn this? And you're like, that's amazing to see somebody at that high level just continue to improve their skills, because there is definitely a point where they no longer are able to retain that or make that happen. Like, I think of Jorge Masvidal, who has talked about his losses and he needs to get better at wrestling, and you're like, I think that kind of ship has sailed with Shevchenko. Even though she's winning by certain ways, you can tell she's putting in the work in all the other areas, because I just see her so calm, so composed. She'll get hit, she doesn't lose her patience, her just tranquility is always there, and she's an amazing fighter to watch. Like, I hope people look back on her, and yeah, like you mentioned, like when she's done fighting, it's gonna suck because it's just beautiful to watch. She's just so smooth, graceful. Like, you can see it in her celebrations. Like, who else can twirl and spin and do that? Like, people doing that, just, and she's doing that after fighting for however many minutes and punching and kicking and being tired. Like, just great grace, beauty and grace. Like, it's just amazing, and I think she'll show it that way as well. Like, I want to say that, like, I'd love to see an upset, just to shake things up, but she's just so on her game that is, I don't think she has the distractions that Rose or Amanda Nunes have. Like, she's just straight up a solid fighter. I don't know what is going on with those other ladies, but that was just such a big, like, I don't know. Rose winning how she wins, like, that last fight was like, you're back at square one. Same thing with Amanda Nunes. Like, you're getting beat up at your boxing. Like, what did you do? Did you train? Did you prepare? And Valentina, just, you can just see it. She's just built for this, and I'm excited to watch it, and I hope it's a highlight finish. I'm excited that 2 of the 3 main fights are females, like women fighting. Like, that's great. I think and they're gonna live up to it.
All right, so do you have a prediction about how the fight will end?
I would say probably round 3, and she's gonna like finish her, because like I mentioned, she's so composed and just doesn't rush it, just takes her time and then just beats him up.